The second criteria to consider when making the most appropriate wipe for your area is cleanliness. And cleanliness is expressed in terms of particles, and then the chemical characteristic of those particles, which are the extractables. So let me turn to this illustration to explain. Within controlled environment terminology, we refer to the amount of particles based upon 1 cubic foot. So remember how I just said that all the standards for wipers are based upon metric. They're based upon milliliters for sorbent capacity, meters squared for the size of the wiper for sorbent capacity. But for particles, because this standard was developed in the United States, it's a cubic foot, okay? And so when someone refers to a class 10 environment, they're referring to fewer than 10 particles of a specific size in a cubic foot. When someone refers to a class 100 clean room, they're basically referring to fewer than 100 particles within a cubic foot. So the cleanliness standard for a wiper is first the particles. And how we determine particles is we take a wiper, we put it in a Helmke drum, or we agitate it, and after the agitation we count how many particles come off. So what I've done here in my rather primitive, and we'll just call this a 1 cubic foot, is I've drawn circles to illustrate all the particles. So you can see in this cubic foot we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if we were to do a particle counter on this, we would say that we have 14 or fewer particles, right? So this illustration would exceed the standard for class 100. That's what we mean when we say particles. How many physical particles come off the wiper when you agitate it? That's the first aspect of cleanliness. The second aspect of cleanliness is to do a chemical analysis, to do an extractable analysis to determine what elements are these particles. You can see this particle here is zinc. This particle here is silicone. This particle here is a chloride. So people that are just generally concerned with cleanliness are going to ask for a particle spec. They just want to know how many fibers and what size are the fibers and how many fibers get released. More critical applications where people are using a nanotech type wiper, they're going to want to know both the total number of particles and what are the extractables. So when you look at our specification sheet for a macrotech, you're going to find the specifications are really just geared around parts per million levels of contaminants, the contaminants that you're going to find. When you look at a nanotech or a microtech, we're going to be looking at parts per billion level of contaminants. So there's going to be fewer contaminants that come off these, but there's also going to be an upper and a lower spec for the most common chemicals. Thank you.